What if I told you that there was a Roblox game more popular than CSGO that was simply a cheap copy of another, and the only difference was Brainrot? I know, it sounds pretty crazy, but this is the story of Steal a Brainrot. The game was originally developed by the group Brazilian Spider, and while not been out for more than 3 months, the game has already amassed 6 billion visits, and currently hovers at around 1 million concurrent players. At its peak though, the game had as many as 5 million players at once. At the moment, there's only one other Roblox game that gets more concurrent players than Steal a Brainrot, and that's Grow a Garden. The premise of Steal a Brainrot is incredibly simple. When you load into the game, you have your own base, and from a conveyor belt you buy Brainrots that generate you money over time. The twist of the game that separates it from any other tycoon game though is that you can walk over to other players' bases and take their Brainrots, and if you get back to your base safely, you can successfully steal the Brainrots, acquiring them as your own. The simple yet fun gameplay loop has skyrocketed its success. It's actually led to a platform-wide trend for developers to make Steal a games due to its addictive core mechanics, with spin-offs like Steal a Pet, Steal a Meme, and Steal a Character.
But what if I told you one of these games wasn't actually a spin-off of Steal a Brainrot? What if I told you one of these games actually came out almost a month before Steal a Brainrot? And what if I told you it was the least popular of the 3 games?
Yeah, that's right. Steal a Character, a game that currently sits around 100 active players at all times, was actually the inspiration for Steal a Brainrot. Apart from a few minor differences, the games are practically identical. And it's so similar that many believe that the developer actually has legal grounds to sue Steal a Brainrot with a DMCA strike. In all honesty though, this isn't very realistic as Roblox games copy each other all the time. The resemblance of the 2 games is still astounding. With nearly a month between their releases, it's entirely possible for the developers behind Steal a Brainrot to have seen Steal a Character and remade the game with just a few differences. At this point, I thought this was about the end of the story. It was just another example of a Roblox studio copying another and making millions from it. Still, something did not sit right with me. Now, if you look into why Steal a Brainrot was so much more successful than Steal a Character, a lot of it has to do with the management of the company. Players report seeing hackers constantly, updates weren't pushed out nearly as much as they should have, and honestly, it just felt like the game was abandoned by its developers. Now, why would they do this? Seeing how successful Steal a Brainrot became, the core idea of Steal a Character had a lot of potential, and it just doesn't make any sense. Until you look into who is in OMG Studios. In the group under the developer role, there's a player named DoBig. Now, if you don't know, DoBig is the account for DoBig Studios, the largest Roblox game studios at the moment. They own games like Grow a Garden, Blade Ball, Dusty Trip, and countless others. They didn't code all these games for themselves though, as instead they purchased already successful games and they optimized them for even more profit. Now, if you look at DoBig's website, you'll see Steal a Character under the list of games, showing that they do currently own the game. After I had this key piece of information, everything started to make sense. Now remember at the beginning of the video when I said Steal a Brainrot was made by a group called Brazilian Spider? Well, the game was actually a joint venture between Brazilian Spider and DoBig Studios. Even though there's so many videos talking about how Steal a Brainrot just copied Steal a Character, they were actually owned by the same studio the whole time. Although there was one problem with the story. There is a chance that DoBig Studios copied Steal a Character, but they got a bunch of backlash for copying the game, so they ended up buying it. Now, I searched online everywhere for an answer, but I couldn't find any, so I was left with only one option. I had to speak to the developer of Steal a Character himself. OMG Studios is owned by a user named Kilios, and in a now deleted short conversation with him through Discord, I was able to uncover the fact that OMG Studios had a deal with DoBig Studios the whole time, essentially selling Steal a Character and allowing DoBig Studios to remake it as Steal a Brainrot.
They probably saw the potential that Steal a Character had and decided to buy it so that they could remake it into a more mainstream version, like Steal a Brainrot.
And this honestly shocked me, as what appeared originally as one small Roblox studio copying another led me down a rabbit hole of corporate acquisitions and hidden deals that probably handled millions of dollars.
So if this ending shocked you just as much as it did me, subscribe for the next one.